Yes, I did too.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Okay. Could people put in the chat if they finished or not, so I can think what we want to do? Because technically we have today talk about Bootstrap if we wanted. I did have an idea of what I wanted to do if people finished.
Can you guys go and check if the list, if a playlist is working right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's working.
it's working.
Okay. Kind of seems like most people. So what I was thinking is, since we got an extra day with Bootstrap, um, we could we could maybe take some time to talk about go over any questions people have and but talk about like responsiveness, making it like website so that way no matter the screen size it looks good, because Bootstrap has a interesting way of doing that. So we could do a breakout room maybe if somebody's still working on the project and would like to finish it here with some guidance. We could do that. Um, but yeah. So, anybody have any questions? Like maybe you finished the project, but you're like, I don't low key. I don't really know what happened here, or any questions about Bootstrap or the project? Okay. Yeah, it's one of the more intuitive things compared to other parts of the curriculum. Great. Um, so would anyone like to spend some time to finish the project in class? Or maybe there's people who feel like I have more to go, but I feel like I can do it on my own. Um,
I mean, I'm kind of along those lines where I feel like I could do it on my own.
okay.
Because I don't want to get the handout just yet. So after class, I'm gonna just try to grind it out some more. And then actually have a session tutor scheduled tomorrow,
Gotcha.
just to make sure everything is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of kind of jumping into responsiveness then, and if anyone changes their mind, you can Slack myself or Carlos, and we can open up a breakout room and guide you along a little. But yeah, I think it might be fun to talk about responsiveness, and how that all goes. So sweet. Um, so maybe I'll just start sharing my screen and see how I'm going to do this. All right. So can anyone tell me, have you heard of, I already said it, I guess. What does responsiveness mean in terms of web applications?
Wouldn't it be how the website reads the HTML, and how it shows on the actual website live, as opposed to the source code?
No, not quite. No.
Okay.
What's their idea?
I know from the Bootstrap like module, I know it has to do with like the size. I know there's different. I think it's, I can't remember. I think it's like small, medium, large, extra large. I forget, but it's basically to adapt to the size of the screen. So depending whether you're using like a mobile phone versus a tablet versus a large computer versus like a smaller screen computer.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if something is responsive, that means it you can adapt to the screen size, and yeah. So we'll talk about that. So there's a way we'll talk about how to do it with CSS, something called media queries, and then we'll show you how Bootstrap handles it. I have Bootstrap here. Cool. All right. You're right. We're talking about the grid system. So Bootstrap, I don't remember. I don't know if you remember specifically, Carlos, but I know like Bootstrap has some things in it that make it responsive to a certain point already. I know that is true. I just can't. Like, I know, like, for a navbar component is a good example. But do you recall anything specific of how Bootstrap is responsive?
No, what I remember is just the class names that we have.
Yeah.
There are certain conventions according to like a specific modules of devices. For example, whether you're using a tablet or if you're using a cell phone, and there are also certain specific uh, cell phone modules for different sizes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think there's things like certain, like the rows and columns, they have like percentages or something. I don't know, I forget. But let's check this out right here.
Yeah, let me check it out. Yeah.
So, all right, so here's a navbar of a component from Bootstrap. So you see how this thing right here, that's like built in with Bootstrap. So if I open it up, you see all the different options. But if you start to get smaller, it changes it to that. And then you can open them like this. So that's one example of how Bootstrap is responsive. And I believe the columns too, like we look at, oh, another thing is percentages. Percentages are a great way to have something responsive just a little more organically. So we can get rid of this stuff. All right, so I could say div, I can call this fixed width, and then I can say percentage width, and then okay, ID equals fixed percentage, and then we'll some different things here. So ID fixed would be width 100 pixels. Then we'll go here. We'll call this percentage, and we'll call this. So, what are our thoughts about what the difference will be between these two, fixed and percentage? When I like make the screen smaller and bigger, how will these two things change, if at all? Any thoughts?
I think, was somebody gonna go? think I heard.
What?
Oh, well, I was gonna say when I see fixed,
Kind of gave it away with that, maybe.
yeah, it kind of just it stays its size, or it stays like where it's at, no matter the size of the screen versus percentage will change with the size of the screen because
So percentage
it's
is
a percentage
relative.
of, yeah. There you go. Thank
So you
you.
see Yeah. So, sometimes it's good if something is the same exact width or height or whatever, and sometimes you want it to adapt a little. So, and you can think of it like well, if we change this to, instead of 30%, let's change this to 50. So that's 50%. Let's see. Let me look at the elements here. That thing is inside of what? Inside of nothing. Well, if we look at it like that, let's put a background color of this. Background gray. So that's what the percentage div is inside. It's inside of the gray thing, right? It's inside of the container. So 50%, it's like taking up 50% of the available space it has. And that's specifically of the container. So if we have a div within a div, for example, so if I go like this, I'll call this percentage 2. And then inside of this div, I put another div called ID percentage 2. Percentage 2. See what that does. Did I not change the color? Yeah, I forgot to change color. Make it green. Okay. So, it's 30%. So let me change it to 50. So you can see that percentage 2 is taking up 50% of the available spaces it has, which in this case is the blue. So that's the kind of way that works, percentage. There's also like rem, which is like the root, inheriting the root. It's like relative to the root parent. We don't need to stress about that, I wouldn't say. But there's like rem and m units that that can make like text size and different things responsive as well. So that's one side of things. Yeah. Any questions about that? All right. So cool. So let's get into some media queries. So I just saw one. Look at that. That must be like built in from Bootstrap. So we can just take that. That's a media query. So the way a media query works is, so how about this? So check this out, right? If I click on this mobile icon right there, it brings me to this mobile thing. So here it shows you the width. That number is 1024 pixels wide. You can go like this, make it look like a phone. you can click here and make it like an actual phone, iPhone SE, etc. So yeah, that's inspector. You click on the mobile thing. And so this is how you can preview what your website will look like while it's in different mobile settings. And you can click on this thing too. That's mobile small, mobile large. You click on tablet, laptop, bigger laptop, and 4K resolution high definition laptop.
Yeah, Alex. Sorry, I'm sorry if you mentioned already, but what exactly is a media query?
I'm gonna lead into that.
Okay.
So this is how you can view what your website will look like in different screen sizes. This thing here and that thing there. And so media query is a way you can, so let's say like there's a specific spot that I don't like I don't like the way the nav bar is all the way to the left. I want these icons, this thing right there, I want that to be all the way to the right, and it's not. So I can click on it, and I see what comes up when I select it is this thing, the class nav bar toggler icon. So I can put a media query to change the styles of that specific class. To do something different, put some margin to push it there, or put float right, or whatever I want. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes ish or longer if we want. I want you guys to Google media queries. Put it in the thing here. CSS media queries. And then I want us to see if we can figure out what is the code I would need to change the color of one of those divs. That when it becomes 500 pixels width, which is skinnier, I want to change the color to something.
Do you want it in a Bootstrap or just regular?
Regular,
Okay.
like CSS media query.
Okay.
So just Google that and try to look at examples, etc. And then I'll have someone tell me what code I'm gonna put. So yeah, 5 minutes until 6:28. Longer if we want. It's not, it doesn't matter. But
And you said to change the color of what, the icon button?
the just assume you'll know the ID. It's just changing the color of the div.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. Where did you want us to do this?
Google it. Just Google what the code should be, and then I'll share my screen and someone will tell me what I need to write.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I had a quick question. I was trying to understand. So if I'm understanding, so the media query is to help you, I guess, style between, like the style changes depending on what device you're using?
It goes by, I'm gonna give you space to research and see if you can fill in your own question.
Okay.
And then we'll come together and do it together. But the assignment, let's call it a quick assignment, is when the width of the screen is 500 pixels, I want to change the color of the div.
Okay.
You'll have the ID of it. So see how you can use media queries to do that. And then we'll answer those questions if you haven't found it out by these. have 2 more minutes unless everybody wants a little more time.
Would you want the media query to be from 500 pixels and larger or 500 pixels and smaller?
I didn't specify, I guess. I guess I don't either way, as long as you.
As long as it'll apply at 500.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you be like, okay, this is going to make it act in this way, and I know that because of whatever.
Okay.
Or maybe I should give something specific. What do you say, Carlos? Should it be 500 pixels and lower, or 500 pixels and that's weird? 500 pixels and beyond. It should be 500 pixels and less than that. So anything above 500 pixels should not change the color.
I'll say that. Yeah,
Got it.
500 pixels larger and larger. Yeah.
Okay, I'll add a few more, maybe 3 more, 3 minutes or less. 3 minutes so Christian brings up a good point. It needs to be that if it's 500 pixels or less than that, it changes the color. But if it's 501 pixels or bigger,
Or more, yeah.
Not change. It should be its original color. So 632. We'll reconvene. We feeling ready? We want to move on, or we want a few more minutes to?
I think we're ready. It looks like everybody's ready.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. All right, cool. So let me share my screen then. All right. So maybe Carlos, you can choose somebody, someone who wants to, or someone can just go. Anyone feel like they got it and want to see?
I think so. I'll give it a shot.
All right, cool. So let's do I don't know, this div right here, %2. Tell me what file to click on and what I'm typing.
Wouldn't you add the at media, and then you'd put minimum width 500 pixels under the div?
So I go like here
Yeah.
at media, and then what?
Parentheses minimum width,
Minimum width.
and then semicolon 500 pixels.
500 pixels.
Yeah, and then you'd have to go into CSS and add a container for that. So dot container,
Dot container.
and then the
Well, let's pause there. So yeah, we need to review that a little bit. So what would dot mean here in CSS?
It's a class.
class.
Class. So this is saying look for something that has a class of container.
All right.
So it's not quite what we're going for. And also would not go here in the HTML. But getting the syntax right. Yeah, so somebody else want to answer that? Christian?
So min width goes back to what I was asking. If you do min width, it's going to be 500 or larger. So it would be max width instead.
Okay, nice.
And it wouldn't be there. I think it would be in the styles.css file.
All right. Where would you put it? Beginning
I mean, I don't think you could put it in the bottom. And then maybe you could just put at, yeah, just like that. And then open bracket at the end. And target the ID, which I think was percentage 2, was it?
Yeah, percentage 2. Percentage 2.
And then another open bracket, and then whatever CSS property you wanted to add. So like a background color.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe that works.
All right. So the original color is right here. So we'll change it to whatever. Some kind of pink or something. Okay. So let's see if that works. So I'll put this on. So it is pink right now. And the width is 320 pixels. So if I go more, it turned to green. So let's see, 462. Can make it go up like that. 480, 490. But there you go. 501, it changes to green. Nice. So yes, success. Cool. So any questions about that?
Yeah, so the max width is anything under 500 pixels, and the min width is the opposite, right?
Yeah, so yeah. Max
Right.
width would target the maximum width. So anything smaller than that, it'll apply it. And then min width is if you're targeting larger screens. So the minimum width would be 500. So anything above it, it would apply that attribute to it.
Nice. Min width. We put min width. So 501 is higher than 500, so it changes it to pink. All pink. And if we go down, so now it's green because it's less than 500. Nice. Yeah. Any other questions about that?
So yeah, this is all just applied to the CSS file when you're working on it, right? And
Yeah.
with media queries.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's typically good to put it, I would say, at the bottom because remember, if you remember from any pre-work you did or something, CSS is goes in order. Well, actually, I wonder if it's a media query. Like, I wonder if we do this, would it still work? I wonder. Huh. Yeah, it seems like it does. So we put mid width. Wait, what was it? Yeah, mid width. So anything over 500, it applies a change. Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, because I think it's like I was thinking, it was order of. This is the like it always takes the thing on the bottom. So it did apply this at first, but then this thing overrode it. Yeah.
So if you do media query, it has to be the last thing on your CSS?
I think that makes sense. Yeah, because
okay.
this will override it.
Okay.
Similarly, if I do, if I go like this and I put this to some kind of blue, let's say, that the blue would get the last say because that's the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, that's like a general rule of coding then. Whenever you have a style sheet, if something applies to like the same thing, whatever is the most recent one is gonna take.
Yeah, and the most recent means what thing that's last.
The last, yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
okay.
so you have to be mindful of that. So if like you put some CSS code and it's not working, sometimes that's the reason why. Yeah, and so with this, you can add more. So, for example, we could do this. So this is. So here's the open and closing bracket for min width at 500 is all of this. Here's one change we're making, and then here's another, and you can have like a bunch. I like to do two of them, so you can add another one by going like and. What? You can go like and put another one. So you can say like min width of 500 and then max width of something else. So min width means anything lower than 500. Max width, what was I trying to do? 550. I think if you do it like this, it would make it so that change only happens in between 500 and 550. Let's see. So it's not changing because it's not over 500. So now we're in 500. So it's pink. And then if we get over 550, that should go away. Yeah. And I just prefer to do that because it's like when you make like a more complicated website and you're testing all these screen sizes and different phone models, and you're doing this and this and this, you'll find like it's dangerous to just assume it'll work for this huge thing. Like every now and then it's like, okay, it looks good, 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 good. Oh my God, there it doesn't look good. And then, so yeah, that's how you do it with media queries. Any questions about this or media queries in general?
Did you say that this works well like with Bootstrap? So if we use Bootstrap, can we use media query, or is there no need to do that? Is there another one?
So Bootstrap offers a different way of doing it. Yeah. So changing the background color isn't typically a common thing for media queries. Something that's a lot more common might be like, let's see. So these are inside of what? They're not really inside anything because this wasn't me doing serious code. But okay, so let's just pretend. Well, I guess let me just do this. So I'll put this in its own div. What the heck? Oh, because it's in Spanish. Okay, div. And I'll give this a class of rectangle or boxes. And then we'll grab all this stuff. I think that's everything. Go in there. What is this? This boxes. And what's that? What the heck? Oh. Okay. All right. So we have boxes now. So a common thing would be that when it gets to be a certain width, we would want to make it display flex or vice versa. So that would be in the boxes. So somebody else want to go who hasn't gone yet? What would be the media query? Let's erase this and think, what would be the media query I want to assign to boxes if I want these things to be side by side when I get to, I don't know, in between 600 and 700 pixels for the width. So specifically, I want it to be that when I get to here, 600, in between 600 and 700, right now these things are on top of each other. I want them to be side by side.
Yeah, I could try.
Cool.
So we would have also the classes of boxes.
Let's see. Yeah, boxes.
Okay. So it would be period boxes with the open bracket and then space, and then we would have at media. In parentheses, we would have min dash width 600 or colon 600 px. And then outside of that, we would do and then another parentheses that says max dash width colon 700 px. Close parentheses. Then we'd have another open bracket. And did I do this right?
Almost.
Okay. Almost. So actually, we got to take the at media out. So the boxes has to be inside the bracket. So let's delete. Let's delete the boxes on the outside. Boxes would be inside. So then, okay, now that we have boxes inside, then within those parentheses, we would have display colon flex, and then semicolon, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
And that should do it.
I think that should work. Let's see. Okay, so we're above 700. Nice. And now it's side by side. Good.
Awesome.
Sweet. Let's have one more person go. What about, and this is a common thing that I do. Sometimes when you get in smaller screen sizes, it's like you want to simplify things. And sometimes like that extra thing that was cute on the website, you're just like, never mind. It's too complicated. I try to make it work. I just want to get rid of it. So I want to get rid of this %2 thing when it's in between 300 and 400 pixels. I want that to disappear. somebody else who hasn't gone yet, or if you want to go and have people guide you, you know. Somebody else will give it a shot. And remember, it's not a test, obviously, and you know, if you want to go and give it a shot and people can help you out, it could be good for your learning. So you look at it that way.
If nobody wants to go, I'll try.
All right.
So can I see again, HTML? What are we trying to get rid of?
This thing right here, %2.
%2. Okay. I'll come back to that. So I know we have to do at media.
Good.
Parentheses of, you said max, what did you say?
I said in between 300 and 400 pixels.
Okay, so hold on, let me read my screen again. So at media parentheses, min width is gonna be 300 and then close parentheses, and then and parentheses again, max width 400. And then we're gonna do the open like curly bracket, and then this is what's the HTML code again? The ID is %2. Okay, so dot %2, and then the open curly bracket, and then in there. So I don't know. How do we just put none? I don't know. Oh, display
Nice.
none.
Perfect.
Okay, and then
All right.
that's it.
So look
that's all I
at
got.
look at an example on Google of
Okay.
media query and see there's some missing, some like little minor details to make this actually work.
Okay, let me see. Give me 1 second. Is it the example I have here? Is it supposed to say media screen or no?
That I think that is a thing, but that's not what I was referring to.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure this will work.
Let me see. Okay, let me go back and see. Can you give me a hint?
It's on line 27.
Okay, let me look at it. 27. Min width, max width. Oh, am I forgetting? Oh, pixels.
Okay, that's one part.
No, that's not it. Okay, that's only one part.
Yeah. Someone, go ahead, keep looking. Anybody else who hasn't shared out yet want to help us out here? But yeah, keep looking though, see if you get it. But anyone else, feel free to.
The semicolons and the dash.
Okay, where do those go?
So the semicolon after min width, as well as max width,
All right.
and the dash in between max and width.
Sweet. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. So let's see. 300. But that to refresh. Thought that should work. Oh, I know. Yeah, it's about CSS. About this here.
Oh, there's an extra. Was there an extra curly? I don't know, curly bracket. With that
No, it's on line 28.
28.
Here's the HTML. So look at the HTML and the
Oh, it's because that. No, is it because that div? No, I don't know.
all right, someone can help us out. What do we need to change about line 28?
I think it's because the percentage two, that's an ID and not a class, right? And you should call them with the, what is that symbol called?
Oh, the phone number.
Hashtag.
The pound.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of those things you never think about until you're coding, yeah. But yeah, the hashtag is an ID. So now it should work. Let's see. So there we go. It disappeared because we're inside of the 300. So yeah. And so typically the way I approach my responsive styling is I'll do one of these things and I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, what don't I like about this? And I will inspect. And so, for example, let's say this example about this thing. So that's this button. I don't like the button. Let's pretend I want it to be all the way on the right. So I'll click on it and I'll experiment. Well, what happens if I do float right? That didn't do it. If I go maybe here, container fluid, display flex, space between. It seems like the whole thing is only taking that much space. Why is that here? Nav, display flex, margin bottom. Can I go like width 100%? No. Why is it not? I'll start clicking on these things. Oh, there we go. That's another way. If you check things off, it'll show you what's making it do what it does. That's kind of weird. So if it's not display flex, that means it's display block typically.
Is it because of wrap? Or no,
Well,
it's not.
It seems like not.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's a display flex specifically. So then I would say here is what we're at 375 right now, the width. So that means I would look at what class I am. It's nav. The class is nav. And the thing is 375. Let's pretend I know that I want that to be all the way to. So I would do like, whoops. I would probably say this, and I'll go up to 500 pixels. I know the class is nav. And I would say display block. That's like the default, I think. I don't know if that's going to override it. Let's see. It didn't. And that's because Bootstrap is doing its thing. So I think you could do an important. And it did. Yeah. See, here's my media query right there. So now, so that's kind of an example of how you might troubleshoot things. Just speculate what doesn't look good, see what you want to do it at, play around with the inspector, and and add that in. Any questions about what I just demoed right there, that short example?
Question about that important that you put on the on the CSS. That only works with the add media, or it can work with any class or ID.
Yeah, any class.
Okay.
Yeah, any not
Alex,
not just media queries. Yeah.
Is important the most specific you can get? Like, right? It overrides every single thing, right?
Yeah, I think that's one way to look at it, and I think Bootstrap uses that.
Okay.
Let me see. There Are we using any Bootstrap things? No. Let's do one real quick. PG secondary. Boxes. So look at, you see important right there? And that's from BG secondary. That's Bootstrap.
Okay.
So they do a lot of important. So typically your CSS won't override Bootstrap stuff.
Got it. I see.
And so that's one of the pros and cons of Bootstrap. They give you so many styles, which is nice, but then when you want to customize it in this very specific way, sometimes it's you against a battle of all these Bootstrap things. Like, where is this coming from? I didn't do that. And you have to find what Bootstrap thing is doing it and override it. Sometimes that could be a little annoying. Definitely worth it though, because Bootstrap saves a lot of time. But yeah, any other questions?
I wanted to see like things like Tailwind and the other things that you mentioned the other class in our other classes. They work pretty much the same in that sense.
Kind of, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have different approaches, some different syntax. Tailwind in particular is very similar. They use a lot of in-style classes. I think like Tailwind is just like they have like a lot more options. Like Bootstrap's colors look like a kid's crayon set. You know, you can't get like nice little. I think you can customize Boost class straps. What the heck am I saying? Bootstrap classes, like you can create your own and put them in. But Tailwind has like all the shades of gray, the 50 shades of gray. Anyway, yeah. So that's what is nice about things like Tailwind. So yeah, each one of them have their own little things that's like pros and cons.
Nuances. So essentially, like if we get like good at the Bootstrap, it's kind of transferable, right? If we were to use like a Tailwind or whatever the other thing is, essentially. Okay.
I would say so. Yeah. You get used to looking up documentation of UI component libraries and stuff.
I feel like if you know what you want to do with CSS, like if you know the CSS, you could just look up the Tailwind, like how they categorize that class, and then just implement it in their way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times.
So I would say like the foundation is just to learn the CSS as best as you can. And then when you pick up one of those frameworks, it's just how can I do this in that framework, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because you have to understand CSS in order to use Bootstrap because Bootstrap gives you this nice copy and paste, boom, it's done. But you always are going to want to customize it, and you can't customize it unless you know how CSS works.
And I think that's what I noticed with the Bootstrap project, right? Like it helped a lot, kind of knowing from the pre-work how CSS works.
Yeah.
Because then it was kind of like, oh, okay, now I see things were kind of a little bit more intuitive. Because I kind of understood what CSS was about. So.
Right. Yeah, and you can for example, if you want to understand media queries more, we can click on this thing. Or is it this one? Where did I see it? There's some media query. Well, I'm not going to waste time looking for it. But, like you can look at, like, how did they make this nav toggle look the way it does? Oh, they added padding. Cool. Like a line height. What is line height? I've never heard of that before. Let me look that up now. Let me uncheck it. Oh, look at what it did. It kind of centered it a little. Border radius. You can do that kind of stuff and see. So yeah, it's good for that too. Cool. So we feeling good to keep going, and then we take a 20-minute break at like 7:30 or so. Can't see none of y'all, but
that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I want to spend a moment to talk about how Bootstrap does this. So that's CSS media queries. So remember, Bootstrap is like a CSS component library. You know, background colors and all these things. It's really just HTML and CSS. They just carpentalize. I can't talk. What's the word I'm trying to say?
Compartmentalize.
Yes,
There
they
we
do
go.
that. They do that. And so in a similar way, with CSS and HTML as media queries, like we just went over, Bootstrap offers a different approach to it, and it's called breakpoints. Breakpoints right here. So here's the way they approach it. So you have these breakpoints: extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, extra, extra large. And the class infix is these things. So, and these infixes correspond to these screen sizes. So, for example, we had this thing, display none. The alternative of doing this, that's like, so that's 300 to 400. That would be less than 576. That's the closest one we got. So that's another thing about these Bootstrap component UI things. They're never precise. A lot of the time, their general use can fit what you need, but sometimes it doesn't. But honestly, like 300 to 400, that's kind of weird. That's like an exercise. A more practical use is like less than 500. It usually covers what you're going for. So we'll just do that. So we want to say the percentage to div has a display none when it's less than 500. So less than 500, there's no class infix. So here, utilities, we have flex. So remember, utilities is like basic CSS stuff that you can use. So look at here, d-flex. When you put d-flex inside the class, it makes it display flex. And here's all of them, d-flex. Oh, look it, they're showing you right there. Look at that. This is a breakpoint, SM, like we were just looking at. So I was looking for, oh, that's flex, not display. Where's display at? Here we go, right there. Missed it. So here's all the displays: D dash, and then this D dash block, D dash table, etc. So here, percentage ID percentage 2. So we can add a class because that's the way Bootstrap works and classes. So less than 500 right here means you don't give it any class infix. So that means I don't want to see it when it's less than 500. Now, if you leave it by itself like that, it will just, that will be its overall style. But if you add another class infix, then this will only be applied when it's less than 500. So if I do, for example, small block, that means when it's greater than or equal to 500, and keep in mind, that's greater than or equal to 576. So that's everything beyond that. It's like Which one is that? Min width? Block. So if it's less than 500, we're going to do display none because we didn't add any, we didn't put small, we didn't put large, we just kept it like that. And then here we put the class infix SM that comes from here, small, and that means greater than or equal to 576. It will have a display of block. Okay, so don't see it. Where's the what the heck? Where's the whatever? Let's do this. Oh, because it's not responsive. There we go. Okay, so if we go above, there we go. See, above 576, it starts to show. Now it has display block because of that thing. Because of that. And so yeah, like the display is just one of them, but like a lot of them, like background color. So if we wanted to do, I guess we don't have any other ones. So I don't know. I think it just applies to most of the utilities in Bootstrap. So it's like, yeah.
Can you remind me? So if we reach the break point without any kind of alternative display, what happens? So if we go extra small, does it by default vanish, or
like if I just do this, you mean?
like if you don't even have D none in there, like what happens? Like if it just if the screen is lower than 576, what happens on its own?
Like if there's nothing in the class?
Yeah, like if there's nothing in the class and we pass that breakpoint.
Well,
If
nothing
that
would
makes
happen.
sense. Okay, but how would it be viewed at that point?
I think I get what he's saying. So do you have to put it for every single size? Like say you want to apply something that is going to do something for example, small. Do I have to do again for, okay, small, do this, large, make sure like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For
Well, what
each,
if you don't though? What happens if you reach that break point and you don't have anything there?
Oh, if you didn't put anything for, so I say I didn't put
Yeah.
anything for large, but I put something for small, and so yeah, what happens to
well,
large?
here it's all about
Yeah.
this. That this symbol right here means
Also,
greater than
anything
or equal.
greater than. Okay.
So I'm asking like if it gets extra small, so below 576, right? Class infix says none. So what happens?
So if I only
Like, what
have
do I
this,
see?
so if I only did D,
Yeah, sure.
and
Yeah.
then none.
Yeah, and then it goes lower than 576. What actually happens? How do
I
we view
think
it?
it would have its default nature. So this is above 576, so it's not there.
Okay.
And then it's there. It has its default nature as the HTML element.
Default. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's like, because whatever you put in your HTML, if you don't style it, that's whatever it's gonna display. Is that what it is? Because you didn't add a style to that.
Repeat that one more time.
Let me make sure I'm saying this like properly. So, so it's basically like, okay, when you just put all your basic HTML things, and you style your sheet. It's basically whatever you didn't apply a style to, it's just going to behave naturally what it would behave as if you didn't style it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever the HTML and whatever you have in the CSS file.
Okay.
That's the default nature.
Okay.
Can you go below 576 again?
Did I take it out? Oh no, it's small right now. So if I go above, it'll go away.
There we go. Okay,
and below, it's there.
Okay, I think I get that. Okay.
Yeah, and so you can do that not only with display, but also like, let's see, like BG small. Oh wait, we were already doing that here, but I think it'll override it because it's Bootstrap. BG small. Freaking. What would be something? Alert, and then BG. Uh. White. I think that's one. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll just do secondary.
Okay, so this is similar to the media query we did in the
It is
sense where
that.
in the sense where we had the parentheses and then another parentheses. It's doing it based off classes, right?
Yeah, right. And so
Okay.
we could do
Okay.
BG-MD. What the heck? What are the stupid Bootstrap colors? What are the colors?
Warning is red.
Alert,
Well, danger.
warning,
Danger's red.
success,
That's right.
dark.
I like info. They've gotten better. They added little different shadings. They didn't have that before. Anyway, warning. Okay, let's see how that. Okay, so it's secondary. It has no infix, so that's less than 500. It's going to add this one once it gets 576 or more. Oh, but it's none, so that was stupid. Yeah, let me get rid of this so we can actually see the background color. Okay, so I don't see it changing. Wonder why. Small, secondary, alert. Huh. I don't know. Secondary. Well, I don't want to eat up your guys' time. I think it's about time we get coding, but that'd be something fun to explore. But so yeah, any other questions about that? You could do it with width too. Change different widths, like W-MD-80, 75, I mean, or whatever. So yeah. And so let's talk about this. I'm thinking what would be kind of fun is if we pair up and we try to make our our Instagram thing responsive. Working partners, me and Carlos can jump around and see, maybe use CSS media queries or the Bootstrap breakpoints, whatever you want to, or both, whatever. What do y'all think? Two big groups or groups of two or three, or any thoughts from you, Carlos?
I think that 2 large groups will be better.
2 large groups? Okay. Okay, Love seems to agree. Great. So yeah, let's hook it up. 2 breakout rooms. We could just shuffle it. I mean, do they shuffle us too? See what it gives you when you shuffle it. Because if me and you are in the same thing, that's not. So yeah, if you haven't already, try to get your Instagram Bootstrap project up. Have the code open. Get your code space running. And we'll just brainstorm before we have our break.
You're making the rooms, Alex?
You're making them?
No, no, no. I was asking if you're making them.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Let me do it. I thought. Here, so let's see.
'Cause I'm trying to get Code Spaces to work. It's super slow right now.
Yeah, Code Spaces it acts up a lot.
So, how many people we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, one, two, three, four. The other group is 5. Okay. Open rooms. So did you get a good look at it, Gabriel? Was it responsive and different like laptop sizes?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, great. Yeah, I have a feeling with this project it's simple enough that, but with something else, man, even just different laptop sizes can give you a headache. You have to change so much. Yay, I'm organized. Ending class. To close class out. Sweet. So how did things end with you guys? Where were y'all at?
Bad.
Ah,
I think we learned. Well, I learned a valuable lesson, or at least with my code. But yeah, I think for me, I noticed how you divide the divs or the divs you create, the classes you create affect the responsiveness. You can either make or break the responsiveness literally. So Carlos was showing us his code from when he took the class.
nice.
Yeah, so that was good to see.
Did you work on responsive stuff when you were a student, Carlos? Like during your cohort? Oh, cool. I didn't. I learned all that stuff later. Not even my final project. I didn't make that responsive.
Believe it or not, I had to work in responsiveness within my final project just by going into the mentoring sessions, because we worked a lot in the visual part of the project. We didn't just to make it functional, but we really wanted to make it look beautiful. And once we tried different devices, it broke completely. So it was a disaster.
I mean,
I
I didn't
wasn't able to fix it myself. In
Mm.
fact, we had to work, like the three of us had to work on it. But the thing is that I had to quit my final project like 2 weeks before the graduation. So yeah, it was very unfortunate. But no, we made it to work.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, props to you, because I certainly didn't. That was not on my radar. Responsiveness while it was all after. Yeah. So yeah, that was. I'm glad we got to touch base on that. We had some extra time because most people were finished. So that's a small little taste. This is a pretty simple website. So something like a final project, more than likely, you'll find a bunch of hiccups for every single screen size. So certainly, Declan was asking me if this is a requirement. Certainly not a requirement for this Instagram project. Even if it's not responsive, you can definitely turn it in. But if you have extra time, and what the heck, go for it if you like. But yeah, so we're gonna be going over some HTML forms for next class. So feel free to read up on that, take a look at it. And yeah, any last burning questions about responsiveness or anything like that? All right.
No.
Nope.
Cool. What do y'all think? Was it as easy as you thought it would be, or harder, or what?
Harder.
For me, it's not easy.
It was not easy.
At all.
Insane.
It was interesting though. Like once you
Yeah.
get once you start seeing the things come together, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But it wasn't.
The magical world of styling. Styling is, well, I already said it in the breakout room, but
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling when, I mean, it for me, it's just annoying. It's like, come on, bro. Like, I don't walk on the whole website, and like Carlos says, I put it in mobile view and it just shatters before your eyes, and you're like, are you kidding me? And then it's like you spend so much on that one mobile view, and then you go to a tablet and you're like, man, I just more responsiveness.
Yeah.
So
How did you learn it though? Like, what did you do outside of class to learn this? Was it on the job or what?
trying to remember.
you can do some Well, there are several options. For example, there's one YouTube channel that I like to recommend that is called Slaying the Dragon. Slaying the Dragon has a lot of tutorials about, especially about front end developing, but also I would just suggest you to try to emulate projects. Like, for example, try to create a landing page. Try to get familiarized with layouts because there are specific layouts, and maybe you can try making certain layouts responsive. Like, for example, try to make an Instagram a mock, or try to make a Facebook, or maybe a Netflix. Yes. So once you start getting to know these layouts, you can also get to work on the responsiveness, because every layout will give you like a different approach. The problem is when you are developing things from scratch and you want like a whole new design, the responsiveness is also going to be of you're going to be the author of that responsiveness as well.
For sure. But yeah, it's just about doing it, I guess, and having that expectation. I love my YouTube channel. I always go to is Net Ninja. I love that guy. He explains things so nicely and thoroughly, and he doesn't assume you know anything at all. So it's pretty beginner friendly. But yeah, so sweet. Well, I'm glad we got to dip our toes in that. And yeah, so me and Carlos will put together some notes eventually for responsiveness, I think. And great, guys. So excellent work today. And see y'all. What's today? Monday. So see y'all Wednesday.
Sounds good.
See you
Thank you.
Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, perfect.
Do you want us to get started on the